Before I start the review, I will tell you that this video will have some spoilers that are important to give context to what I am saying. I will try to warn you with some text, but don't worry, most of the time this will be spoiler free. This game is very good. It came out as a surprise. Whenever I watched the trailers or the promotion material, I thought the game looked like slop. I really didn't thought that the game would be this good, or that there could be such a good game coming this year. This is how demoralized we gamers are. We can't really expect to have actual good games anymore. I wish I could just say that this game is really good, which it is, and be done with it. Unfortunately, I can't, and I can't because obviously the game isn't perfect. I have some grievances with the gameplay, fortunately not a lot, but there is a big one there among those. But also the game does in fact feature cultural Marxism. For the retards, yes, the game is woke. I will tackle that first before I talk about the gameplay, and I will be clear. In my reviews, the woke content doesn't affect the score of the game. I reviewed the game exclusively on its gameplay merits. Why? Because if a game is completely plagued by woke trash to the point that it even affects the gameplay or makes it an unenjoyable experience, I just don't even play them. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows, About, Concord, Star Wars The Outlaws, I just avoid them. It's just not worth submitting myself to that torture to push out a fucking review. I will still show you how the game I review is woke, because I am completely against cultural Marxism. I don't want these ideologies in my games, and because the amount of fanatics that make blind eye to them are in the millions. So I am going to do what every coward out there isn't willing to do, and say the truth. Here is why Clair Obscure Expedition 33 is woke. Before I start the list, I will say this to you. I knew the game was going to be woke. Since the trailer and the promotion as material were shown, I knew it. The tone of the game, the amount of women, how the only male character shown looked, everything said to me that it was going to be woke. And if you didn't perceive that before the game released, that just shows how tolerant you have become to these ideologies and how much the cultural Marxism infection has advanced in your mind. First of all, you're greeted with multiculturalism in a game that is supposedly taking place in the Belle Epoque between 1870 and 1914. There is no way that there were blacks or even other races like Asians, Latinos or whomever. There is just no way, and just at the intro of the game you see tons of the same copy-pasted blacks around you. It's absurd. Clearly this is multiculturalism pushing, which is part of cultural Marxism. Let's talk about feminism now. From the cast of main characters, which the vast majority of them are women, of diverse women even, to being basically all in positions of power. Gustav's sister is no other than the chief counselor of where these people live. Yes, a woman is leading these people. No wonder their expeditions keep failing if they not only send women to basically war, but also allow them to lead their society. Talking about these expeditions, it's pretty clear by the start of the game that this world they live in is very dangerous. That is no joke going into an expedition, that they clearly have a low population problem. Yet they are not only showing they are very progressive in the way that they are sending women to war, but also even okay with women not having children? It sounds awfully similar to real life ideologies, no? You don't see any man in that place in positions of power. All the men are portrayed as retards, even the smart ones are women, but hey guys, it's not woke, you fucking idiots. At the beginning of the game, really just at the start, Gustav is about to commit suicide because how bad the expedition starts, and guess who makes him recover his sense? A woman. A woman that somehow saw the same things he saw and it's not affected in any way. This is just bullshit. And talking about Gustav, this guy is a typical soy boy, beta cock that allows women to get their way, that is completely emasculated. He has some good moments, and I don't even hate the guy because he's a nice guy, but that is precisely the problem. He's way too fucking nice, and no man really wants to play a character like him. Spoiler ahead. Fortunately, Gustav is replaced by Verso, a more masculine and based guy to play as. There is a race of warriors in the game that are pretty cool, but guess who their leader is? Yeah, another woman. The only woman of this race just happens to be the leader of this race. Another coincidence? We are supposedly in the 1870s and women bodies are completely tattooed. It's so fucking stupid. But if sending women to war is not enough, well, guess who survives the most? Women again. It's literally in your face, guys. You're just pretending it isn't because you like the game. Instead of your party consisting mostly or totally of men, no, you have 1 man and 3 women. Give me a fucking break, retards. Not woke. Spoilers ahead again. The story is basically a wife and his daughter rebelling against their husband and dad respectively. Seriously, what else do you need to hear? And I don't dislike the story, I think it's pretty good, but come on man, it's in your fucking face. Apparently, this game got a movie deal already. That should be a massive red flag. It means this game already passed the woke filters on Hollywood, but you morons keep pretending the game is not woke. You will see that just like with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, more info will come, and you will see this game will have some form of consultant types meddling into this game. Some sweet baby types or something. I mean, we didn't need to know any of this new info to know that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was woke. The game spoke for itself, it's woke. So yes, the game is woke, it's there, like I said, you just are more tolerant to it, meaning the infection has spread further in your mind. Not every woke game will look like Concord or About, guys don't be stupid, in fact, that's bad propaganda. The real dangerous one is subtle one like this one, that will be defended by retards and fanatics precisely because it's not as explicit. This is how they get inside. What happened to Concord and About? They failed. They didn't achieve their objective. This did. Many of you are probably already sitting and molding and about to write me a comment. Don't bother. You will be blocked, your comment removed. You will not receive any attention from me, and that's that. I don't talk to evil people or at best stupid NPCs. Finally, with that out of the way, we can talk about what I value the most, which is gameplay. Not saying that this means it's okay to have cultural Marxism in the game, but a game review must 100% be about the gameplay. Like I said, the previous part won't affect the score of the game, period. Expedition 33 is such an amazing game that it's pretty sad that I have to get out of my way to talk about politics again. I wish they stopped doing this, but it is what it is. This game is amazing in so many ways. I am really eager to tell you guys why you should play this game. Now, if you don't want to support cultural Marxism, it doesn't have the Nuvo. That is what I did. I will eventually buy it on a hefty discount because the other part of the money was already paid by BlackRock, and thanks to them I got to play for free now. Let's talk about of all the good parts of the game. This game is really good, so we have a lot of good things this time around. First of all, let's just talk about how good the animations are in the game. If the game is this good, it's because the animators did a really good job. Every ability in this game, every movement, every idle animation just looks incredible. And it's not true that only 30 developers made this game. Just go look for the credits online. You will see it's a blatant lie, and in fact I will post right now who do we have to thank for such a great animations. It's a team of Koreans. Those are not counted in this mythical 30 developer team. I find that very distasteful. The graphics are also really good, but what carries the game is the art style. It's pretty surreal, very intriguing, very thought-provoking, and as a person who likes Digimon World, this alien world of Expedition 33 felt like home. It's just amazing. At first, the game gives you a very bad impression that it's going to be this stupid linear movie game. Oh boy, if I was fucking wrong. The game has really impressive world design. Exploring is really rewarding, and there is actually a lot to explore. It's really not that much more linear than any other RPG. At the beginning there will be few places to explore, but give it time, the game keeps opening up more and more to you. And trust me, there are a lot of places to go, but don't be afraid of being too much. The game has a very fair duration. It will not demand hundreds of hours on a first playthrough. My game time was 45 hours after doing some side content during my playthrough and engaging with the endgame content, getting my character's weapons to max level, etc. But I didn't do everything. I think you can easily get 60 hours from doing everything in this game. So like I said, it's a pretty good duration. Personally, games that last hundreds of hours tend to wear me out, and that never happened while I played this game. Hell, if I didn't have any other things to do, I would start a new game and play a different team composition and builds. There is also New Game Plus, and a good one where enemies actually get harder to accommodate for the fact that you start the game with stronger characters. The music is just another really good part of this game. There is not much to say other than it's great. The game mechanics cleverly use the lore of the game, basing everything about painting, and this lore is very rich. There is even a hint about possible sequels, where things will expand even more. I don't want to go too deep into this to not spoil stuff to you guys, but I really enjoyed the lore and how it is adapted in terms of gameplay, animations. It's just such a good job, it's fucking impressive. The game basically makes a tribute to all JRPGs. There are places where you have these static backgrounds reminiscent of old Final Fantasy titles. You have a traditional world map where you see your characters a bit bigger than the world around them. You will also have the traditional system where you start on foot, proceed to be able to set sail, and there eventually fly and even go underwater, and I love those systems. The game does take some inspiration from the Persona series, fortunately not the trash press turn system. You also increase the relationship with your companions and can even romance some of them, but it's very small and not an intrusive version of social links. I also detected some abilities that look awfully similar to the ability called Giga Slash and Giga Gash from Dragon Quest series that only the main protagonist uses. And funnily enough, here the ones that have those abilities happen to also be the main protagonist. Not to mention that in Dragon Quest usually only the hero can call the power of lightning, and while this is not true in Expedition 33, they made sure that the two main characters do have light or lightning element access on their abilities. I can only interpret all of this as a love letter to all JRPGs. I will make a parenthesis here and clarify what is my posture on the whole JRPG term. JRPG is any RPG made by Japanese people, period. It doesn't mean game mechanics or combat style, because there are many different ways a JRPG is made. They don't all share the same type of turn-based combat where enemies are on a line and your characters are on the other line in front of the enemies. Nope, because if that were true, games like Final Fantasy XII, Dark Cloud, Rogue Galaxy, Digimon World Games, the ones that emulate the Virtual Pet, Red Dead Stories, King's Field, and obviously more recently Elden Ring will not be JRPGs. The term is incorrectly used constantly, is really annoying for me. Hell, I have even read that Japanese didn't even like the term JRPG. Moving on, this game once again proves that turn-based games are still relevant and can make money if they are well done. The game is basically a turn-based Souls-like with a traditional approach akin to the traditional systems that existed in some old JRPGs. You will have your bonfires, your Estus flask, enemies respawn on your resting, you level up your abilities at bonfires, it works pretty well. This means that it can be enjoyed by traditional turn-based people or action-oriented people, because the combat involves a parry and dodge system that is very engaging and fits perfectly into the game. I really like the system. Now, I am aware that this is not the first game that has used it. Personally, I just have experience with the mechanic that allowed you to shoot with Squall in Final Fantasy VIII, and an old PS2 JRPG called Sugunai Atonement, which is really good, you should try it out. But it doesn't matter who did it first, the thing is that in this game it's really fun. Don't worry, if you don't like this system, you can actually build your characters to completely ignore this, and hell, even make them so they can gain more power while they are hit. Now, I don't know how good that will be for the endgame content, considering certain things I will talk about later, but for the main game I'm pretty sure you can get away with doing some build that completely ignores these systems, and that is the beauty of this game. The building possibilities are similar to those you see in an action RPG like Diablo or Path of Exile. It's just that deep. Like I said, At the beginning you will not even think the game is this deep, but trust me, it is fucking deep.
That's what she said!
Each party member offers a very unique playstyle and you can even customize them further for even more playstyles. It's mind-blowing the amount of customization you can do in this game. It's so rich that just talking about it makes me want to start a new game already and try new things out. It's really good. The combat is also reminiscent of one of those card games like Hearthstone, where your mana points are the resource that you need to use your cards or abilities, and you have many ways to consume and regenerate this mana. Every build you make is like making a deck of cards for each character, and every combat encounter feels like a card game with an action game component. I just cannot praise this combat system enough. And contrary to the trend of the shit Souls-like genre, in this case, stats do matter, specifically defense. If you invest in defense, you will see the difference. You will be more tanky, you can build tanky characters, unlike those trash, cheap, artificial, difficult Souls-like games where stats not only don't even matter, but also work against you, like in shit Wukong, where increasing your HP made enemies do more damage to you. What a fucking travesty. I also really like the story. I won't go into details to avoid spoilers, but the game touches on a subject that fascinates me a lot, which is the nature of reality itself. Why are we here? Is this existence real? What is real? How do we come to exist? Now, if you are not into those type of topics and you wanted a more grounded story, well, it may not be for you. Now, let's go with the bad. This is not a bad point per se, but why does Gustav look like Robert Pattinson? Why does Ciel look like Anya Kalotra, or whatever it's pronounced? Could this be a sign that this game was indeed planned to be a movie from the beginning? Who knows, but it's a very curious thing that I wanted to point out. Let's start with the bad. The game is made in Unreal Engine, and that means shit performance. While not horrible, I am sick and tired of having to run games with DLSS to get a decent performance. The game doesn't feature frame generation. Once again, you are reminded that investing in the 5000 series is a terrible idea. If games can't even be bothered to implement normal frame generation, you think they will implement the newest one. While I say the music is good, I have a complaint that the combat music doesn't always hit how it should. I don't understand why have a different combat music for each new area, but I am not on board with that, because I just feel this just removes the game from having a personality. Many of us will hear any of the combat music in all JRPGs and will immediately remember the game. That will not happen with this game, because they choose to have multiple combat tracks, one for each new area, and some of them are kinda bad. At some point while I was playing, my girlfriend even said to me that the combat music in the undersea looking cave that you visit at the beginning of the game, probably like 5 hours in the game, sounded like music you will hear in a tutorial video in YouTube. That's bad. While I really like the parry dodge system, I think they overuse delayed attacks, and delayed attacks and those type of gimmicks are tiresome. We are already worn out of them because they are used constantly in Souls-like games. Not all of the attacks fall into this category, not all are bad, but a good amount of them are pretty terribly telegraphed, and a lot of people are rightfully complaining about having a bad time with the game. Fortunately, the game has 3 difficulty modes. Don't try the hardest one. I tried it at the beginning of the game and it was very fucking cheap. Fuck that, I cannot stand overly punishing games anymore. I'm done with that shit. Normal is perfectly balanced, at least during the main campaign. Minor complaint, there is no armor. The game compensates this with pictos and costumes, but I wish there was actual armors in the game. There is no map for each of the areas, and that can be annoying. Probably on purpose to make it seem like the areas are bigger than they are, or maybe they didn't have the time. You get used to it and it's not bad per se not having a map. It kinda works out, but I put it here so people know. And don't worry, the maps are not terribly designed like the shit Wukong maps. No, you don't have a map here, but the areas are well designed. I wish fast traveling was a thing, but like I said, it works out, you just need to get used to it. The game only allows 3 party members per battle, and the way Lumina works and the limited resources, you will never invest in more than 3 characters. Once you pick your main 3, that's it. Doing anything else will only be against your best interest. I don't like this, it limits experimentation, which goes against the core of the game. And I wish you could have all your party members from the beginning, so you could choose from them from the start and not having to wait to unlock them. They even do this stupid shit where the last party member you get doesn't get skill points, but you rather have to unlock his abilities by farming them. Get the fuck out of here. No one has the time to do that shit, seriously, and that is too bad. because I really like Gestrels and Monocle. It's especially egregious that at some point in the game they have the balls to separate your party and suddenly you have to use characters you never invested anything into it. It fucking sucks. Fortunately the section is short and you can avoid the encounters. While I like the story, I do think it's kinda bad that you are in the dark for so much time during the game in terms of knowing what the fuck is happening. But it has to be because the problem with the story is that revealing any detail can possibly spoil the entire thing. Airborne enemies are a pain in the ass to deal with, not at the beginning, but later in the game. Every fight with one of these shit stains is a miserable experience. Finally, my biggest complaint with the game is the balance in the third act of the game and the end game. It just sucks. At the end of Act 2, you will unlock the ability to do over 9,999 damage, and that is all good and dandy until you realize that the endgame secret bosses are balanced around these fucking trash one-shot builds that end up doing billions of damage in one hit. Here you are building your characters on your own, feeling accomplished of your feats, only to face one of these cheap trash bosses and doing pitiful damage, compared to these motherfuckers breaking the game. And the problem is the end game secret bosses are so cheap that you basically need these stupid as fuck Brock builds or you will be miserable. This is why I didn't bother to try more than once the Clair fight, and I didn't even went after Simon. Fuck that, I can only imagine that it will be the same cheap trash. I don't agree with this stupid game design, especially in a game with finite amounts of resources to refine your weapons, to reset stats, and more importantly, you can't reset Lumina points. You can just get a limited amount of Lumina, and the items that get your weapons to level 33 are also limited. You cannot farm those, and level 33 is the more significant upgrade in damage. It basically doubles your previous damage. The game balance is akin of those ARPGs like Path of Exile where only meta builds can do endgame content, and yes, unfortunately they brought that shit from the genre too. It is very disappointing. I will never support a game that completely invalidates all the work you have put building your characters and your strategy with cheap bosses that require you to specifically rebuild your entire team. You're basically playing the game as the developers want you to play, and your freedom of expression is destroyed. This will significantly impact the score of the game. This is a big deal to me. Having this as a bad point is very unfortunate because this is really bad. Overall, I like this game a lot, but yes, the endgame balance kinda ruined it for me. But I still believe this is a really good game, so the final score of the game is an 8 out of 10. I can see the fanatics already molding because I didn't give the game a 10. Yeah, sure, buddy, the game is not perfect. 10 out of 10, it's for masterpieces, and not because they are perfect, but because those games have very little problems, and the problems are almost as meaningless. So far, during my time making game reviews, I have only gave a 10 out of 10 to the remake of Romancing Saga 2, and if you like Expedition 33, I recommend you to play that game. For me, that endgame balance is just terrible. That is not a 10 out of 10 endgame balance. Sorry if that upsets you, but that's it. And if you don't like it, there is the door, there is the unsubscribe button, there is the unfollow button, do what you must. So in short, the game is indeed woke, the game is really good, and both can be true at the same time. It's low IQ to think that only bad games are woke. Stop being a retarded sheep and start thinking for yourself instead of being manipulated by the tons of grifters that think they are the ultimate authority on gaming. I can see this game competing for Game of the Year easily. Will it win? Who knows? Many games to come, but a contender it will be.